So today I'll be doing a video discussing the new fairy tale movie and why we will be getting a third fairy tales movie very soon. Now I just want to say thank you all for the support that you guys have been showing on the videos recently. I do appreciate it. And if you guys are new to this channel, make sure you guys subscribe, like, turn on notifications, do all that good stuff. I promise you I will continue to bring you guys great fairy tale content. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Now we know that with the first fairy tale movie, Fairy Tale the movie Phoenix Priestess, it was a very good movie for a first movie. And one of the things that was really shocking about it, that it wasn't canon to the plot, because a lot of times we see animes, they will release a movie and it's not canon to the plot and it wouldn't be necessarily good, whereas this fairy tale movie, it actually was good. The animation was good, the characters was good, a lot of things about this movie was surprisingly good, especially at the time when it got released, because it got released way back in 2012. So a lot of people, they weren't having too high hopes for a fairy tale movie, but I definitely can say that this movie, it did come out and this just swung out of the ballpark and it did better than a lot of people thought. And the main reason why I think that this movie did so well is because it didn't try too hard to be something it's not. Like, it wasn't trying to force the fairy tale story or trying to do anything too extra. It was just a simple movie, a simple plot. Everything about it was good and it really did fit well with the fairy tale movie. But it may not have been the most memorable, it didn't have the most, action packed, the most hyped up parts, but as a standalone movie, I do believe that this was a great movie. Good animation, good story, good character stories, and we got to see, good movie character stories that were introduced, and we got to see the fairy tale gang the first time in HD movie quality. So I already know that that was hype for a lot of people. And the second fairy tale movie that we got revealed to was Fairy Tale Dragon Cry, and to be honest, this was the biggest fairy tale movie yet, because we saw that it introduced 4th generation dragon slayers, and right off the bat you could tell that this movie, it was going to be something special, because for the longest of times, if you guys were actually following Fairy Tale before this movie released, Hiro Mashima, he released multiple teases of this movie coming out of Natsu in his dragon form, and it got a lot of us hyped up. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the promo that they did for this movie was perfect, because they knew how to sell us a movie. And like I said, they did a lot of things that was very good for the plot canon wise. They introduced 4th generation dragon slayers, which we saw in Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest. They actually still reference to this day. And the spookiest part, like I said, was Natsu's dragon form was revealed, and this was very huge moment, just because Natsu, he had never had a dragon form prior to this, and they were just going to release it in a movie, so that made all of us get super excited for it. And they definitely did not drop the ball with the dragon Natsu. We got to see him actually take on the dragon. Like, dragon Natsu, he really was hyped in the movie, but it doesn't stop there, because we saw that it hyped up the story of Acnologia versus Zeref, and this was probably the biggest thing in the movie, because this was prior to the final season of Fairy Tale. Fairy Tale had been on break for a long time, and a lot of us anime onlys and manga readers, we were very upset at how Fairy Tale was going. We thought that we weren't going to get a new anime until they teased the final battle between Acnologia and Zeref. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first seen this, I fanboyed, just because we were so far gone from the latest Fairy Tale episode. And then they showed a little preview for the Alvarez War arc. Yeah, like I said, this movie really did know how to get us hyped, and it knew how to grab our attentions. And at the same time, we got revealed to Acnologia's past. Now, it wasn't a lot of Acnologia's past, it was only a little glimpse. We got to see that a girl that he did care about was killed off by the dragons, and it really did spark a reason to why Acnologia did hate the dragons. And we even seen in the movie, Acnologia, he moves on from the little memento that the girl gave her, the red scarf. He ends up destroying it himself. So Acnologia's past, we never really got revealed to it in the main story of Fairy Tale, so it was very dope seeing Acnologia's past actually being animated. And you could tell that Hiro Mashima, he wanted to go in depth a lot more with it, and we saw a lot of Nalu moments. Like, I'm gonna be honest, Natsu X Lucy was pushed heavy in this movie, and I'm not complaining. I am a Natsu X Lucy supporter, and I'm glad that we did get to see that on the big screen. We got to see that movie quality, and that goes to show you that Hiro Mashima, he really was saving a huge Natsu X Lucy moment for the Dragon Cry movie, and it did not disappoint. And we saw that overall, it was just a way better movie than fairy tale movie, the Phoenix Priestess, just because it was canon, it had a better plot. I mean, the animation was out of this world, the characters, everything about this movie was just leaps and bounds above the first fairy tale movie, which it should have been, since it was a very hype movie. Hiro Mashima himself was working on it. There was a lot of projects and a lot of energy going into this new Dragon Cry movie, and once it finally did release, it did not disappoint. Now, the third movie that everybody has been waiting for is the Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest movie, and a lot of people do believe that it will be happening. Now, we do know that we are currently in the final season of Fairy Tail, and to be honest, I don't think they would have called it the final season for no reason. I do believe that they do plan on ending Fairy Tail, the series, the anime, once the anime is over, and it led a lot of people to believe that we may actually get a movie for the 100-Year Quest, and this has a lot of pros and cons to it. I'm going to start off with the pros and I'm going to get into the cons, but surprisingly, since a lot of people don't like this series of Fairy Tail, they want to see it in a movie. But the pros of it would be that we would get great animation for the 100-Year Quest, and I'm going to be honest, the 100-Year Quest deserves it because we've seen how much it improved the story of Fairy Tail. So I don't want to see like just some regular animation to go along with the Holy Pentadrakes, Ignia. If you guys read the 100-Year Quest, you would know all the names that I'm naming are hype. So I could see them actually using this to use great animation for the 100-Year Quest, but the story itself would make for a great movie. I'm not gonna lie, because we know that the story is based on them going on one quest for one movie. It does make sense, so I could see them actually doing that. And we see how quick paced the Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest is. It's not necessarily quick paced, but it's kind of quick, so they could actually fit that into a movie if they wanted to. And we know that there will be a lot of quality fights in the series because Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest, they already have been showing us a lot of battles, and with movies, especially Fairy Tail movies, the main thing that gets us excited are the fights in the Fairy Tail movies. So how dope would it be to see multiple high quality fights? I'm talking Natu versus Mercuphobia, Natu versus the 5th generation Dragon Slayers, all that in movie animation. That would be amazing. And the last pro that I would say, that it would be easier to tell the Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest if they just did it through a movie, because like I said, this is a quest. This is just one big quest. Even though it's the 100-Year Quest, it's still a quest in of itself, and I do believe that Fairy Tail, they will be able to finish it in less than 100 years. So I definitely do have to say that it could be an easier way to tell the full story. But as there are pros, there are a lot of cons that come with the movie too, and a lot of people are fearing that the content would be rushed, and this is a huge news because we see how the Fairy Tail current anime is going. Its pacing is very fast. I wouldn't say it's rushed, but it's very fast, and a lot of people, they don't like how fast the Fairy Tail pacing has been, and they do not want to see Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest get rushed. And like I said, this is a very big possibility just because Fairy Tail's always at fast pace, and they don't want to miss out on the important details. And me personally, I believe that you cannot miss out on the important details with the 100-Year Quest, because that is what makes the manga stand out. That's what makes the manga a lot better than other manga out right now. And the biggest con about a movie for the 100-Year Quest is that we will have to wait for the manga to finish. Unlike an anime, you can actually start if a manga is ongoing, you can actually start animating it and you'll be fine as long as you don't catch up to it. Whereas a movie, we will have to wait for the 100-Year Quest to fully finish, and then they'll have to go back and make it into a movie. And there's no telling how long the 100-Year Quest is. We are only on chapter 25, and it doesn't look like it's going to be ending in the next 50 or so chapters. So I definitely do have to say that if we do get a movie, the biggest con would have to be the wait time, because Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest doesn't look like it's going to be over anytime soon. So it would have to be a long time before we got the movie. But at the same time, I guess you could call that a pro, because then that would mean that they will have basically unlimited budgets for this whole movie. So there are a lot of pros and cons when it comes to the Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest movie. I personally would like to see it happen, but I don't know if they could do a whole series in a movie. I'm going to be honest, because this is like a continuation of Fairy Tail. Not like, this is basically like the second season, the second series of Fairy Tail. And I don't know if they'll be able to cram all this information into a movie, because you got to think, they got the 5th generation Dragon Slayers, Eleftheria, Ignia, Mercuphobia. Like, all that stuff alone could be a movie, and we're not even halfway through yet. So if they did do a movie, it would be a lot of content to jam in, but I definitely do think that it is possible. Now, I know you guys must be thinking, okay, Underrated Mage, if you're not too hyped on the Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest movie, then what movie is going to be coming? I believe that the next Fairy Tail movie will be about Fairy Tail Next Generation. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, number one, there would be way less content to animate compared to the 100 Year Quest, because like I said, 100 Year Quest, this is a full-on blown second series, whereas Fairy Tail Next Generation, it's kind of going to be like the spin-off series. It's kind of going to be like something like Fairy Tail Zero, whereas I don't think it's going to go on for hundreds and hundreds of chapters. It's going to be something quick, nice, and sweet, and I think that that would be great for a movie. And not to mention the fact that it has a simpler story to work with, whereas we're only going to be focusing on Nashi, Dragneel, Storm, and maybe some other characters, whereas the 100 Year Quest, we see how hectic the story is. We got Toka, Eleftheria, Ignia, like the list goes on, and there would be a great time for Hiro Mashima to actually sit back and relax, because if you guys did not know, Hiro Mashima reveals that he does not like drawing too much Fairy Tail. Yes, Hiro Mashima is kind of getting tired of drawing Fairy Tail, and it's understandable. Not saying that he hates it, but he's been doing it for 10 years, and we see a lot of mangakas, whenever they start writing a series for so long, they do eventually get tired of it. But this would be a good alternative for Hiro Mashima to continue the Fairy Tail story, because he does want to continue the story. He told us that if enough people did request it, he would do the Next Generation. But with him having to do Eden Zero, I don't believe that he would want to draw as much Fairy Tail, and this would be a great alternative if we just had a movie for the Next Generation. He could still give his input, and it could all still be canon. I think that this would be a great way to do it. And last but not least, this would be a perfect way to send off Fairy Tail in a fan service style, because we already know that Fairy Tail, the biggest thing that it does for us is fan service. Whether you're talking about Lucy's titties, or whether you talk about the story wise, or whether you talk about the action, any type of fan service that Hiro Mashima gives to us is good. And this movie would literally be nothing but fan service. Seeing Nashi, Dragneel, seeing Storm full buster, like, this would all be great stuff that we could see with the final act of the Fairy Tail movie. And me personally, I believe that Next Generation, it would be a great way if they put it in a movie to close off the Fairy Tail story. Comment what you guys see down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.